Greetings, pioneers. Jeezy here with another Satisfactory video. Everybody enjoyed the last tips video so much that I thought I'd make another one. Here's another 9 things that I wish I knew, this time 500 hours ago. Number 1 is something which just recently blew my mind, which is that holding Alt allows you to see any placed stamps as holograms in the world. Alt right-clicking on empty terrain lets you place a new one, and Alt right-clicking an existing stamp lets you change its icon, highlight it, or delete it, all without even opening your map. The next few are regarding my favorite means of travel, pulse Nobelisks. If you don't know, these little guys do a small amount of damage to push you around. My first tip is that while they are sequentially detonated just like any other Nobelisks, meaning that you can normally only benefit from roughly 3 at once, as you'll be out of range of any more that you place down, you can pre-place as many as you like, and then give them a good whack. They'll all detonate at the same time. Using them like this will give you a nice view of your world, but it's not super practical. Hitting them at a bit of an angle, however, can give you enough momentum to easily travel across your map without requiring any sort of infrastructure. You may already know that you can fall from any height and survive with 1 HP so long as you're full health when you hit the ground, but this is highly relevant if you use Pulse Nobelisks as a means of travel, as they do a small amount of damage and remove your one-shot protection, so just keep an eye on your health bar and your speed. You can use summer sloops to double the output on machines without requiring additional input materials at the cost of quadrupling power consumption. Since sloops are a limited resource, they're best used for low throughput, complex items that you would normally only use 1 or 2 machines to produce. One of the best uses I've found is for multiplying the output of power shards and alien DNA. You can get twice the output for shards and up to 4 times the output for DNA if you sloop the proteins. And since these are finite inputs, the extra power draw will be temporary and easily handled by batteries, and since you don't need a steady supply of these items, you don't really care about producing more a minute than a single machine for each type can provide. Did you know that changing the clock speed on your machines actually alters how power efficient they are? Since in the case of extractors, you're more likely to be bottlenecked on resource deposits than on power, it hardly matters in this case. However, it begins to matter more when you're dealing with production machines. Each of these groups of constructors is set up to produce 80 iron plates a minute, with the ones on the left underclocked to 50% speed, and the ones on the right overclocked to 200. So the underclocked machines are using 20% less power, while the overclocked machines are using 25% more. While the numbers seem very negligible on a small scale, it can be worth noting when you're setting up a large factory, whether you'd like to be more space efficient or more power efficient. You can freely overclock power generation structures though, such as coal and fuel gens, as the ratio of materials consumed to power produced remains constant. Next up is that some machines have snapping points for attaching catwalks, and so long as they're correctly spaced, you can use this to connect them to each other, making moving around factory floors much easier. This applies to constructors, foundries, and refineries, as well as coal, fuel, and geothermal generators. With constructors and foundries, this tip is very easy to implement, as all you need to do is put them as close together as they'll go, and the catwalks kind of just naturally fall where they should. With the other machines though, you'll need to keep catwalks in mind ahead of time, as they require a bit of awkward spacing. I was considering maybe not including this one, but the number of people I see still surprised that this is a feature makes me realize that this needs more awareness. So you should know that you can tap space in the workbench to autocraft instead of having to hold anything down. Even after you've gotten past the initial batch of handcrafting, this is super useful for things like crystal oscillators or SAM fluctuators, which you will probably have the base mats for, but can't automate because you don't have access to manufacturers. And if you have dimensional depots unlocked, the workbench can pull from those too, meaning that as long as you have an automated source of all of those base materials flowing in, you can sit and craft these complex mats for quite some time, leaving you with a nice supply to tide you over. The last couple of tips that I have for you are to do with organization. This first one might be a double, as I'm sure a lot of people know that quick search can be used to figure out how to make any item in the game, as well as provide a list of what recipes that item is used in, provided you've discovered them already. But it also functions as a calculator. Say goodbye to tabbing out or using your phone. It will also hold the equation for you so long as you don't clear it. But let's say that you need to remember multiple equations for a large factory you're planning. You might be interested in the to-do list. By opening your inventory or the build menu, you can click on the right side of the screen where it begins to fade to black to open an in-game notes section. Whatever you type will stay pinned to the side of your screen even after you close the list. It does have limited room, so be concise or use some shorthand. You can also hover these little question marks for some information on basic text formatting. Alright Pioneers, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed or learned something in this video, please do leave it a like, comment down below telling me what you thought, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. The majority of people who view these videos are not subscribed, and if you are a repeat viewer, I would ask that you seriously consider doing so. And if you're not a repeat viewer, there's no time like the present. Why not watch another one of my Satisfactory videos, or head on over to this playlist, which has all of my Satisfactory content. But if you've made it this far in the video, I'd like to wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, I'm Jeezy, and I'll see you in the next one.